Welcome, each and every one of you. We are separated at birth. I'm joined by my co-host, Roman Wins, and I'm, of course, the Full Measure. And this is our first episode of Separated at Birth. We're so glad you could join us here. This is something that's been in the making for a while. It's been on the back burner. We've been trying to put this together, and we finally managed to have a package that we'd like to share with you. We'd like to share our thoughts, our opinions, and just our general mind on the pop culture, the things that we enjoy alongside you. This will be primarily focused on games, of course, because we love playing them, we love talking about them, and we love bitching about them. But there'll definitely be movies and music sprinkled in as well. And we're super excited to go on this journey, not only with each other as partners in this, but also with you as the audience.
Mother Roman in the house. How's it going, everybody? We are so glad you're able to join us today. I am Roman Wins. You already know the Full Measure, and we're super excited to introduce this podcast to you all. Now, this is going to be a little bit different. This is a live show, and this is a live show as much for us as it is for all of you. You are all active participants in this show. So as we go through this show and we introduce our topics, you are free to join in with all of these topics, and we encourage you to support this channel by providing comments or questions using the Streamlabs tip tool. Any amount will do, and that'll get your comments read live on air. That'll get you to be a part of the show. And if you can't support in that way, as always, you help this show grow by being a viewer, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and if you are so keen, sharing this with one other person. That will help us take this to new levels, and we hope to be a fixture in your life every week as we talk about the things that separate my brother and all of you from one another, and the joys that we take in this entertainment industry, because we're all separated at birth. So
100%.
Without further ado, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, and I'm gonna start off with something, right? So the 24th of January, do you know what day that is internationally? Like, it's an international day for something. Do you know what day it is?
I am a member of the International. Go on, tell me.
So it's International Compliment Day. So generally it's thought of that this is a good day to pay people compliments. Well, honest, earnest compliments, right? Not like some, faked up shit. So, dude, the compliment I want to pay you is just how amazing that room looks that you set up there. It's just, it's phenomenal, dude. So that I'm just gonna start off with that immediately. That's good shit, man. Like, I am super envious of the figurines and everything there. You're making mine look a little bit sad here, and it's definitely cheering me up. I still blew positive for fucking COVID yesterday. Yuck. But wifey is 100% through it, so she's a fucking trooper. She's obviously the tough one in the house, and I'm not. So she's all good. She's 100%. But other than that, man, I can't complain, dude. I think just like everybody here, I am like, February just feels so far away still. Like, there's just there's so much distance between us and these juicy games.
Well, Chad, I believe I heard that I have the weaker of the two members of the Full Measures Assembly, and I need to change co-hosts because he's taking this illness a rank amateur.
Yeah, you might have to reach out to her. So if I take a dive, you know what I'm saying. So you can get like the OG in here, so she can run it for sure, 100%.
Well, allow me to pay you a compliment, my friend. I judge you as a fine judge of character. You picked a co-host that is adorable as hell, can compete with your beard game, and designed a set based on your Inspirato, and your Inspirato oozes out of your pores, and it is dripping all over me, and I wouldn't be happy to share that with anybody else. So let's go.
I gotta say, I loved how you started that though, because you started that by still paying yourself a compliment as well, which is good.
I know what you're talking
about. I love it. I honestly love it. It is my favorite thing.
So before we get into the topics of the day, I really wanted to share with the audience, and I kind of touched on it briefly in the intro, how we came up with this name, how we came up with this premise, and it also goes into the title of the episode 1 that you so deftly crafted. So please tell the people how we came to this title.
Oh, okay. I mean, look, we spent some time talking about it was crazy, right? So we were talking about what are we gonna call it, and I think we originally said something like it had to be something with bros, something with friends, you know, something like that. And I think originally the first thing that came to my mind was like friends separated at birth. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's long. That's like a lot of words right there. So I just said to you like separated at birth. And dude, this was like the first thing. We didn't even pilot other names or anything like that. It was literally like we were like, okay, cool, this is the one. And it's because it works. It's what you pointed out then, and this is the thing. This is something that never occurred to me, is that this doesn't just have anything to do with just us, but it's also our audience. I mean, geographically, we are literally all over the planet. We have people in this chat who are in South Africa. We have Europeans on here. We have Australians on here. We have people in the States. We are literally all over the planet, but we all have one or another thing in common, whether it's Outriders or our opinion about Marvel movies or this or that. The point is, we are all somehow separated at birth. Because when you put us all together, there's so much that we have in common. It's ludicrous.
Yeah, I agree completely. I when I heard it and you gave that 9-mile pitch real quick, it hit me in my heart, and I can see all the regulars in your chat, all the regulars in my chat from our different channels, and to see that outpouring of joint love and affection for each other, for the things that we love, to see these guys right now in this chat talking to one another, because they are family. They are brought together by all of this. They are brought together by you and me, and I just couldn't think of a better name, couldn't think of a better premise, and couldn't think of a better partner. So raise a glass with me, my friend.
There we go.
And to episode 1, to the future. Cheers.
Cheers. Well,
and wherever you guys are in the world, have one too.
This is a glass, I mean, made out of, can, but, I'm with you, baby.
I love my glass made out of can.
All right, so I think it's also, since it's our first one, right? This is the inaugural, this is the flagship, baby. We have to, I think it's important that, I think we share a lot of audience, but there could be people that primarily come from, like, let's say like me as a background, but then there can also be people that are from you as a background that have thought like, let me get this podcast thing a fucking try, something like that. So it's probably, I think without doxing ourselves or being fucking weird or something, like maybe like what I'd like to know is if you could pinpoint your exact step where you climbed into gaming, or when this thing fucking grabbed you by the jubbly bits and didn't let go. Like, when did you know this was gonna be like something that'll always be? Because I get into this conversation with my wife a lot, where she says, "Is this gonna be like a forever thing with you, with the games and the fucking the pop culture and the shit, or is this like a phase?" And I'm like, "Baby, it ain't no phase." So there was a time in my life when I realized, like, oh God, I'm hooked. And what was that for you? What was the thing?
It was always there, and I never realized how much it all tied together. I will never forget that I come from a family. I have 4 brothers and a sister. Lost one tragically, so I guess I got 3 bastard brothers. But I'm the middle child. But my dad had a business. He was gone all the time, and my mother was she was a social worker, and she helped a lot of like at needs people. So she always was taking care of other kids except us. And so since we were a tribe, we were all on our own. And where would we hang out? We'd go to the arcades in the late 80s, early 90s, because that was the thing you do then. And I didn't get along with my siblings very much, so I always had my comic books. And I'll never forget, like, one of the first arcade machines I ever played was the Avengers arcade.
Oh, wow.
And then that resonated with me because I had the Avengers arcade cab that I would just dump coins into, and I had the Avengers books when I went home. And the one time I hung out with my oldest brother, Brandon, was we would play the Punisher game, where you would fight over who's going to be the Punisher and who got stuck with lame-ass Nick Fury. And like, that's
before Nick Fury was like cool. Nick Fury's cool now. Like that was busted-ass Nick Fury. So yeah.
It was, and then that's when it started. It was the melding of my comic love, and then they had those arcade comic cabs, and then it grew when it became a thing, like a passion, like a thing with fighting games. it was I was a sports person. Like I if I excelled at sports, that was the time Daddy would come see me. It was when I was in the championships. But
he only showed up for the events. Yeah,
for the glory. But at night, the competitiveness kept going, and I would want to play fighting games because my sister's live-in boyfriend used to whoop my ass. I was like 8 in Street Fighter, and he was like 20 something and just beat my ass. And I was like, never again. I'm gonna train every day. I'm gonna go to the local arcade. I'm gonna play on the cabinet. So I play Street Fighter and Tekken and all that, just so that way I can get back at him. And then it became my outlet. If I wanted to, if I got mad in the day and I wanted to punch somebody in the face, I'd go punch someone virtually in
King of Fighters or something, right?
That's right, King of Fighters, Street Fighter, and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's where my passion, that's where the fire came from, and then it just grew into a loving
quick question.
Of pop culture.
Would you say that like your all-time favorite genre of games? Then we would say it's fighting games, I guess.
It was fighting games. It was fighting games until, and fighting games will always be how I view every game, because every video game is a select number of motions, and that's how you and like you think you're playing this great Naughty Dog game that is this cinematic experience, but you're pressing up and X. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a move set. There's a move set.
So understanding the move sets and the complexities of it is in my DNA from fighting games. Quarter circle, you know, that pretzel, it's called pretzel motion in SNK games. It's in my hands. It's in my blood. But as I said, I didn't really get along with my siblings, and I always consumed culture. I was playing RPGs and watching anime at the same time. So in the late 90s or the mid to late 90s, that's when the JRPG boom was hitting consoles. And so that became my dominant genre, because it was the Japanese influences media that I liked in the form of long form video games, where I would just lose my soul playing those games. So
it's almost like the perfect cocktail, right, for you at that point.
It was.
Like it was, yeah. I get that. Okay, so
and games took me all over the world, man. Everywhere I went, I found the culture and the games that they played and the things that they liked. So that's why I'm very interested to hear your response into this.
It's weird though, right? Because so first thing is, there's a lot of stuff that me and you talk about where we end up walking away from that conversation going like, my God, like this person has had exactly the same experiences as me, or you know, there's like there's and we've both said it in the past that there's so much of that happens that sometimes we go like, what the fuck is the Matrix malfunctioning? Like, you know, what's happening? But in this case, I was definitely like pretty much the exact opposite, right? So for me, only child, so didn't grow up with any siblings, and but did also have the thing with like absent parents, you know, something like that. So both my parents worked incredibly hard, both extremely career driven. My dad was, at the same time while working, he was also like a full-time musician. So when he wasn't working, he was fucking playing gigs at night. And so I kind of like, I couldn't do sports because there was no one ever that could take me to the sports. That's the thing. So I did a lot of like after school, I would stay, you know, at people's houses until I could go home with my parents were home and stuff like that. And so when I then started looking towards hobbies that I could enjoy, because I could obviously not, you know, do these sports or anything like that, I just kind of naturally gravitated towards gaming, because I've always liked the idea of competing, not necessarily against other people, but competing against myself. And so a lot of that at the beginning for me with games was, okay, cool, I can do this thing in 5 minutes. What's stopping me from doing it in 4.5? Or I can get 2 million score on this, or I can kill this boss, and you know, I can do this, because there's a certain amount of prestige in that as well. Like you go over to a buddy's house, you're like, yeah, dude, I got to Dr. Robotnik and Sonic 1 in like fucking 45 minutes. And shit takes you like 3 hours. What's wrong with you? You know, and that, so there's a side of that I really did enjoy. I started, you know, obviously early with like the Commodore 64s, shit like that, like the fucking tape drives that you had to do the thing. And yeah, it was so I came from a small town called Swakopmund, which is in Namibia, and dude, there was an arcade there, but it was next to a laundromat, and it was in the most dangerous part of town, as dangerous as Swakopmund could be, right? And so my
I
parents
can't even say the name. That has to be pretty dangerous.
well, that's the first thing they test you on. If you can't say the name, then you get stabbed. So that's the first way they test you, if you're a local or not. No, but so the thing is, like, I would sometimes like ditch school and I would go to the arcade to go play, but I'd always catch like a fucking beating of note. Because my parents were so upset with me putting myself in harm's way. I mean, twice my bicycle got stolen outside this place while I was just happily putting tokens into a machine and playing, dude. And then I came out later, I'm like, shit. This level 5 beating that I was gonna take now just turned into a 7. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the arcades were like this. It's something that I often like. I'm sad about now because that's not so really a thing anymore. And I mean, let's be honest, the internet now today is the modern arcade, right? But the point is that I miss that whole thing of going down to an arcade and you get there and there's some dude that's been sitting on Mortal Kombat for like 3 fucking hours. Nobody can get this dude off and you get him off the machine. And there's this like, there's this, even if like nobody's gonna get off that machine and go, yo bro, that was awesome. But there's this thing when you look at each other, you're like, I got you. I had you, man. And it wasn't luck. It wasn't that. I had you. I saw what you were doing. I figured you out. And the computer went to work and I got you. And that's the thing. While I was never nearly as deep into the game with fighting games as you were, I completely 150% understand it. Because there are few things as pure as figuring someone out on that level. Because it's on the fly, right? This isn't something you could study for. Yes, you can study the way you play, but you're presented with a wild card. And so this person can pick someone that you're not necessarily good at. They can play a certain way. They can hold you at range. They can be in your face. They can make a combination of that shit. They can counter your shit the whole time. But the point is, it's like Lucky Packet, baby. You don't know what you're gonna get until you open it up. So yeah, I fully and yeah, that's the thing.
There's no better feeling to like. So you know, we're in America, right? You have your neighborhoods, and then your neighborhoods are kind of spread out in one of the central area, and you never will see other kids from other neighborhoods, except for the one mall that was kind of central to like about a half a dozen neighborhoods, right? So you go in and you see you roll in with a roll of quarters, and you got NWA's "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster" like rolling in your head, dude. And then you drop that coin down on a cab from this kid from a rival school, and then you're just like, I'm gonna get you off this machine, bro. Like that's happening right now, and it's a thing, and it's pure. Pure is the thing because we're gamers, we're geeks, we're not people out in the street fighting one another. We will say
that's your fight. That's your fight right there.
We will say the most vile things to one another.
Yeah, dude, it's mommy
like,
time and it's all this
face,
shit. And yes,
like
exactly,
cuss you out, but once you're off the stick, you gotta let it go.
No,
you gotta let it go.
Exactly, because that's that trash talk that's in the moment, and there's a big part of that. Like there's a psychology to that as well. Like intimidation is a big thing, making a guy think like you're all that when you're not. I mean, fuck, dude. There's picking a certain combination of characters. Like that was like a big thing. I don't know a lot about like fighting games, but I know enough. Like picking like a certain duos in Tekken, for instance, like paints you as a certain kind of player, and then that makes you look like a bully, for instance. And then if you're not a bully, if you're a counter player, they're like, oh shit, my world's falling apart. So no, there's a lot of that. Again, like I said, sorry, excuse me, I'm still dealing with it. The purity of it is something as well. And see, that's also, so let me attach to, that's the other. So there's 2 reasons I'm upset about arcades. This will be reason number 2. Is yes, today we can climb into games and we can play against people, right? And there's multiplayer all around the world. But with that comes this unfortunate thing where people cheat and shit like that happens, and that wasn't a thing in the arcade, bro. That was pure. Like you beat someone, they couldn't go like, yeah, you're using wall hacks, dog. No. I put my quarter weighed the same as yours. I put it in the fucking machine and we went toe to toe, baby, and I beat you. Battle of wits, and you got outdone, and that's it. And that's something now, like, I know it's an extremely jaded way of thinking about it, and I know not everybody cheats, but dude, people cheat. It's a fucking thing.
There's enough of them to ruin the experience.
Yes.
Especially when it hurts you more, especially when you love a game and you want to play it. You really want to play it, and then you hit a wall that you can't overcome because that 1% are cheating. And but go on.
I mean, it's very much like we recently had a discussion about this with the whole Warzone thing, right? And you said something which is 100% fucking true, and that's that if you look at sports, right, which makes a lot of money, and let's be honest, like top end games make a lot of money. There's how are people not gonna fucking cheat? I mean,
right.
it's we're talking about multi-million dollar endorsements and everything, yeah. And I'm not saying that I would cheat, but I get how that would make you weak at the knees. If you go like to step into this top 5%, I have to sell a little bit of my soul, maybe a lot of my soul, but I get to buy a fucking house at 25. Let's go.
Yeah, but when you really think about it, and you can spread that across all industry, you don't get to the top of any field without stepping over people. And you know, and even in this game,
you just got to decide what's enough. That's the point.
But circling back a little bit, and I love this topic, and I would love to get into the psychology and the culture surrounding game cheating on another show. But for this one, though, as we're letting the people know who we are, what was the genre that you identify yourself with? What's the one that brought you into the fold, that made you know this will always be a part of my life?
Dude, for a long time, I mean, my thing was I like playing adventure games, and you're like, dude, I cut my teeth on like where I really got like lost in games and shit like that were like adventure games like Space Quest and fucking, you know, King's Quest and all that, like that shit, like RPGs, like that type of shit, the typing shit, like that killed me, bro. Like I spent hours in that. But where I knew that I was 100% screwed and this was gonna be my life was shooters, bro. I'm well past my prime in them now. I mean, I'm literally 23 years too old, past the median age of being really fucking good at it, right? But I will never ever be able to walk away from it completely because my passion lies there. Jousting another player one-on-one and doing things like bullet counts in your head, all that shit. Like for me, back in the day, playing Quake 3 Arena, and this was where I cut my teeth on going, you know, globally and playing against people in, you know, other countries. That shit to me, like memorizing armor fucking spawn times and knowing how many plates you can get this way around and when you can get a spawn on the rocket launcher, all that, like that shit to me was the most amazing feeling, like outsmarting someone else. Because Quake 3 Deathmatch, and it's not the only game that was that, but it's just the one that I'm by far the most familiar with, was as much a fucking chess game of controlling the map as it was of killing the other player. Some would say it was even more about controlling the map than it was killing the other player. And that's, to me, dude, that shit, like, that had me, dude, I lost so many years of my life on shooters, dude, because I've done them all. But that's it. That's it for me, man. I mean, yeah. I
love these gaming stories because, like, as much as you say you didn't play sports and things like that, I mean, for you to pull out of your bag that Quake story, there is a fire in you of wanting to compete, and we all compete in everything in our own way. And I'm watching the chat and I'm seeing all the games that touch these people, I think it's just a beautiful thing how the art of gaming can bring out something in your soul, something that you may have not known, something that you can't conceptualize until you start talking about it with a friend, like I'm doing right now with my friend, explaining what touched you in that game. And then the words come to you because it's pure and from the heart.
And you realize how passionate you are about it.
It is. And I always tell people, never mind that I play a game, never mind that I read a comic. There's a person on the other end that made that and is trying to express to me something about their life. And the medium doesn't matter. Yeah. And I can feel it. It was a lesson that I always tried to teach my kids whenever they consume anything. I don't care what they like, although I don't get my daughter's K-pop obsession, but it's all about finding the story. Like, what's the story? And I think it's beautiful, and I love talking about this subject with people. I love talking about this subject with you. So
no, it is because you can always get a new like my favorite thing is when you speak to someone about it and they mention a game, you're like, my God, I forgot about that game. It's like the best feeling because it's like this instant nostalgia trap, right? You instantly like, I remember, and that's the thing. Like we spoke about like something kind of like about this, and that's what made us make the little you know, teaser for the stream, and for the podcast. And my thing was like, I don't remember what I smelled when I turned 18, right? I don't remember like the first time I tasted fucking beer, what it tasted like. I don't remember those things. It's been too long. But you ask me the first time I finished like the most difficult level on Doom 2. I can tell you exactly where I was. Fuck, if I put my mind to it, I could probably tell you what I was wearing. The point is, like, it's that ingrained into me, and it's. Sometimes I think to myself, then I'm like, I don't have, you know, passions that other people have in, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Motorsports, ballet, fucking, you know what, everything like that. And then I sometimes think to myself, like, do I have something that I'm interested in? But then we have a conversation like this, and I'm like, my God, bro, you have a lot of that. Is the stuff that just you could just pull from memory like that, and it shows you the power that this medium has over us, or not over us, but you get what I'm saying, like what it means to us.
Yeah, it's people we all want to connect, no matter what. I mean, what is the difference between 20 nerds going to a comic book convention and dressing up as a superhero versus 20 people going to a football match wearing the kit? You know, there's no difference.
That's the fucking same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
And I hope to go on this ride with you as we explore these topics that we have identified. We share our stories with each other, and we share our stories with the people. And then in the chat, go on, talk to one another, and let each other know the things that you guys connect with. And don't forget, you know, if you want to have your comments read on air, any type of donation, any type of support. If you have any questions that you want to direct directly at us, do not be afraid. 99 cents will get you on the board, and we can talk about it. But with that out of the way, every time we enter one of these podcasts,
yes, the big elephant in the room,
we will identify every week at least 3 topics that we want to dive our teeth into, and we will not talk about it ahead of time. I really am keen on hearing my partner's thoughts organically as we both approach these things, and we let each other know. And we're going to dive into our first main topic of the day. It is the big one, and I'm going to read this line from Polygon, so credit to the people at Polygon. On Tuesday, a $68.7 billion deal brought Microsoft's number of internal development studios to 30. With them would come billion-dollar cornerstones like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, all games due with new releases in 2023. All right, so we are going to dive into, my friend, the acquisition of Microsoft purchasing Activision, Blizzard, and King.
You almost want to leave like a 7-second pause for that, right? Because it's the biggest power move in gaming, but not just by like double or something like that. I think it's 6 times as big as the one before it, I believe, if my research serves me correct. But the point is, just in pure financial value, of course, we're talking about, you know, something, you know, ridiculous. If you know what Microsoft as a company is capable of, then it's actually not that much. And I'll dive into a little bit when you know what I mean by that. But the point is that we go through these, at least I think so. And this isn't just in gaming, but it's in companies as a whole, right? We go through this kind of like a wave thing where you get acquisition years, and then you get like fucking lay low and make money years, right? Now we're about to go, and whether that's due to COVID or fucking just coming off a mini recession or whatever you want to say, I mean, I personally think Microsoft followed the fucking #1 rule in business school, and that is get them while they're weak, baby. So yeah. So I think like the thing is, we're entering an acquisition phase now again. This shit happened very early in this year. I think we're gonna see a few more, you know, funky things happening in 2022, probably 23 as well. But this is definitely I think this might, there's one other big move that I think that could happen, and I'll mention that as well. But to me, the first and foremost, the thing that I want to say about this is that it's been interesting to see how people have reacted to this, from like the buddy down the street that you share a beer with and you talk to them and they might go like, they bought who, or you know, something like that, to like industry professionals who are, or at the very least, you know, people that I view as professionals who are essentially saying this is, you know, the apocalypse. So it's weird that we kind of have to find like a fucking middle ground there, right? Because that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be the apocalypse, but it is also a bigger deal than, oh, we don't know what's going on. So there's a middle ground there. But it's definitely it's a fucking huge power move. That's number one. And number two, I think it means a lot more than what people think it means. People think that this is about they think it's about Microsoft being worried about Meta and the metaverse and all that. I think this is about Microsoft taking the console war off the market. I think this is about them eliminating hardware from the conversation. I think this is about them saying what matters now is we want to be the fucking Uber Netflix of games. We're talking about content now. So we're not telling you need an Xbox X. We're not telling you need a PS5. We're not telling you we're telling you you need Microsoft. You need Game Pass, baby. And then you're sorted. You need software. And that's the thing. Does that mean that they're not going to go into hardware, everything like that? No, I don't think so. But I think this is a power move in that, because what they're doing is this acquisition allows them to not make a mistake. Even if they're wrong, they solidify their position as owning all these massively powerful production houses, studios that can push content out, and content is what this is about. If they're right, they practically push people like Sony and Nintendo out of like the subscription model, basically. So yeah. But anyway, I mean, I've been going on for a while now, so please.
No,
help me out while I take a sip of beer.
I got you. That's what we do here. We help each other out. I think you touched on a lot of fascinating points, and I think that the main thing that I really wanted to dive into is that something that you touched on. I've listened to all the talking heads, and I apologize to the chat. You know that we were setting up this show. We were going to launch this show and talk about a bevy of other things, and then this thing happened when we were still in the finalizations
in the birth
of the
chamber,
podcast.
and then
And so, we are a little bit late to this story, but the beauty of being late to the story is you're able to see all the evolutions in the week that this has evolved and the time that is going on. So we've learned a couple things. We learned that Microsoft tried to buy Activision Blizzard back in 2018. They first went to them with the terms of this proposed deal back in 2018. Bobby Kotick, at the time, before he was mired in controversy as well, thicker than he is now, he kind of balked at the idea. He didn't want to sell. Then there was heavy pressure from Tencent to come in, and they were going to pull out an astronomical number. So it wasn't this year, while mired in all of the things that they are mired in over at Activision, they reapproached Microsoft and said, okay, how do we get to this deal? Microsoft came in with a lower number, but they did raise the pot a little bit in the negotiation because they had to pay out the man, Bobby Kotick, to have a golden parachute graceful exit at the end of this.
Yeah, got to get rid of the tick. Yeah,
got to get rid of the tick. So I wanted to bring that, and then I wanted to bring in a different slant. You touched on it a lot because, like I said, I listened to all the talking heads. I read up on all of the takes from all the big boys, and I haven't heard about it from anybody, and I heard about it from you right away, and I love you for it. Too many people are looking at it in the lens of how they see gaming now. Microsoft has gone always how they want to see gaming go in the future.
Yeah, they shape. They don't conform. They shape. And it bit them in the ass because they lost the console war during Xbox One, because they introduced the Kinect as a main staple feature, and they wanted to be your cable box. This
was before the streaming war. They wanted to be your cable box. It was sports, TV, and then people only viewing gaming in the lens of how they know it to be, their
like
their
how
hardware
I want
media,
to consume it, and nobody can tell me how I can do it, like that shit.
Exactly. And then Sony won that console generation because they were like, hey, you want to share games with your friends? They handed the disc off to their buddy, and then Microsoft, they saw the rise of Twitch, so they launched Mixer, and again, wasn't successful. They tried that approach again. They see Stadia flounders. They were going to launch xCloud earlier. They pulled it back and did a longer extended beta because Stadia fell on its face. So Microsoft is constantly trying to shape gaming, like you said. And now, where are they going? They're perfecting xCloud. They're looking at GeForce Now. They're looking at Netflix. They're looking at Amazon. They're looking at Apple. They're looking at all of these places and saying, I'm not competing with Sony and Nintendo.
No, because they're fighting about platforms. I don't give a fuck about platforms anymore now. I care about content and delivery of that content.
Exactly. And what they're doing is they're saying, okay, Sony, you have the market on a curated boutique gaming style, third-party action adventure, high level of story and single player.
You're talking about Naughty Dog, right? Yeah.
Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica,
Sucker Punch,
Sucker Punch, Guerrilla, it goes on and on. Insomniac.
Yeah.
But we can't compete with that, not anytime soon. So what can we do? Volume.
Yeah.
We are going to build a catalog of games that, okay, they may not any one game will be the greatest game that sets the world on fire.
Yeah, but we're going to hit you with 50.
We're going to hit you with 150.
Yeah.
150.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to get off the teat of mother's milk. You're going to invest in our ecosystem. You're going to get Game Pass. And guess what? It works. There are so many games in Game Pass that I would have never tried.
100%.
These bite-sized games,
100%.
These smaller games. A game that brought a lot of this community together was Outriders going on Game Pass. I mean, you don't get to see those gems and what they have because you would have not made a risk-based analysis, a cost-benefit analysis to say I can put 60 on this game. But if it's on there for 5, I'll give it a shot, and people will find their gems.
I'm on there already, so I might as well just yank it down. So boom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they want to be the Netflix of gaming. They want to have sheer volume in the medium. And then here's what's going to come next. You're going to get a little dongle that's going to go to the back of your TV, and then
you're good to go.
Every device with a screen will be an Xbox Game Pass device.
100%.
And that's how they're going to attack the next generation, because that's what they were trying to do back with the Kinect, with the sports TV, sports. They were trying to be a cable service, and now they're trying to be Netflix.
Yeah.
And with that, I mean, do you agree with my assessment? And what does go from there? Do you agree with that assessment?
I do, and I can fucking boost that up by saying to you the two things, right? You brought up Stadia just now. The two things that made Stadia fucking fail was the fact that you had to rebuy all your games. That's not a problem with fucking Game Pass. And the second thing with Stadia is let's be honest, yeah, there were good games on Stadia, but it did not have a big fucking push, right? It did not have like you didn't have, I think the Stadia exclusives, they were like 6 or something like that. One of them was fucking Orcs Must Die 3, for instance. And that was actually a system seller for them. That was one of the reasons why people went out and got Stadia, is to play an indie game called Orcs Must Die, just because it had a 1-year exclusivity with Stadia before it came to PC. The bottom line is this: Microsoft is doing it the other way around now. Don't launch the fucking thing first before you get the roster of fat stacks of games ready to go, and then you go nuts on that. And people are talking about like I've been one of the people that said and this is tapping into what you said about the dongle. People are saying like there's never been a better time for Microsoft to launch a handheld. That's not the fucking handheld you're thinking. Right. Microsoft's handheld that's coming out is exactly that. It's a Unity device. Their handout that they're bringing out is something that you can play portably, but more importantly, you can connect to any fucking screen, and it makes it an Xbox basically, and you're good to go. That's what's coming.
And that's what's coming, and you got to look at the tier, right? The slice, right? What is Microsoft? Microsoft, in any good interrogation, what do? You say nothing, and you let the person you're interrogating fill the void with words.
Yeah.
They're giving away a lot of it. All right. If you watch, you have the Halo TV show. All right, that's coming out. You see the success of Arcane and Castlevania and Netflix. They are in an IP arms race that they can flip into multimedia galore. You will have a Call of Duty movie. You will have an Overwatch animated TV show.
Can I add something onto that that's gonna blow your mind?
Go on.
Do you understand how they've just primed themselves to win any form of NFT race? because they
NFT's a Ponzi scheme and it's never going to succeed. But go on.
Okay, but that's I actually agree with you. I wish it would go the fuck away. But the point is, it's here right now, like TikTok, and we have to deal with it. And the point is, NFTs, right, are concerned around either fucking proprietary IP or fucking making your own stuff. They own 95% of the fucking IP that people give a shit, that kids give a shit about right now.
Yes.
So you've got the fucking Minecrafts of the world, and dude, there's a fucking kid out there that's making 400,000 a month on NFTs made from Minecraft. The point is this: they've solidified themselves, they future-proofed themselves against something that, yes, hopefully fucking dies in 6 months from now. I pray to the gods of technology, because I'm tired of hearing about fucking NFTs, right? I went down a rabbit hole with this shit, and my God, I nearly did not return. But the point is, they've put themselves into a position now where they have, I mean, the only thing they're missing to complete the NFT toolkit is fucking Epic with Fortnite. Then they're golden. So there's a side to this thing which is like 5D chess with playing like something that means something 5 years from now and 10 years from now. It's not about putting consoles in people's fucking houses anymore, which is like Sony's biggest problem right now. Sony's biggest problem right now is, Jesus Christ, we can't make PS5 fast enough. So we're trying to backsell people on PS4s now. Their own fucking revision of their subscription model, I mean, they're merging like PS Plus and PS Now, whatever. Is they but even that, their whole way of looking at this thing is different. Microsoft, with Game Pass, it's the first day that a new game comes out, if you have Game Pass, we give you access to it. PlayStation looks at it from the other side. They go, if you join with us, we choose what we call PlayStation Classics or whatever the fuck, and we give them to you after they surpass a certain sales number, and we give them to you to play. So it's like approaching the thing from two different sides. We are like, we think this game is successful and you can play it, or these guys are just like, dude, if you join Ultimate Game Pass, you practically get any single fucking game that's made day one. You get that shit delivered to you. It's the business models are completely different, and I don't think Sony is, because we're gonna get to that part. I want to spend some time on what people are saying, like Sony's gonna go bankrupt, all this shit. They're not gonna go bankrupt. They're not gonna go bankrupt. But there are some hard decisions and questions which will need to be fielded and decided and fucking dealt with going forward, because this is an arms race. You used that fucking term earlier, I believe. And in this arms race, Microsoft just laid down like a fucking fat deterrent. Like they just basically made it very unattractive to fuck with them.
Any good wars fall on multiple fronts, right? So they're winning in a front of this, right? If you just want to go remove everything that we talked about the subscription model, about eliminating the console as a medium and just focus on current gaming. The number one sold game on PlayStation every year is Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So now going forward, if Call of Duty, and it will, I guarantee you Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation, because why wouldn't it? Because it's a 70-30 split, and now 70% of that split goes to Microsoft.
Yes.
So they win that anyway.
But Roman, what happens though is, I don't know if you're aware of, I'm sure you are, but the point is, do you know that for many, many years now, Sony enjoyed an exclusivity deal with Activision that gave them certain modes in the game a year in advance to anybody else? That
and
goes
we don't
to
know
fucking,
how.
That goes to Microsoft now, dude.
No, it doesn't.
No. So let me give you an example, right?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So the 1 year of fucking survival or whatever, right, which is available for Modern Warfare on PlayStation, and only we got it in year 2 of that game's life cycle. That dynamic changes now, because that exclusivity is gone now.
There are existing contracts for exclusivity, and Microsoft has to hold on to them. So we don't know how long the Call of Duty Championships or feature exclusivity still lasts. They still have to honor
yearly,
those.
as far as I can see from The Verge, because The Verge did an article about it.
But there are a lot of people that do not know the terms of the contract, because right away 100%. Sony came out and said Microsoft has to honor the terms of our existing contracts.
Yes.
So
for sure.
But I believe that Microsoft will play ball with Sony on that, because there's no reason to not to. Microsoft no longer sees Sony as competition. Microsoft sees future technology like augmented reality, virtual reality, cloud gaming as the competition, because those new emerging technologies are going to come from your metaverse, are going to come from
they're fighting
your
the
Amazon.
future. They're not fighting Sony. They're fighting the future.
They're fighting the future. And Phil Spencer said a great line that I believe he believes, and I believe it to be true. We trust that Sony and Nintendo will continue to be Sony and Nintendo.
Yes.
Meaning we're just worried about cranking out a couple good games a year, and then we'll go about our business.
Dude,
because
Phil is killing it right now, dude. That guy's has dropped some really. I actually, it's that you brought up like him saying something now. In thinking about this, and obviously in the last 2 weeks, I've been sort of like mentally compiling some of the stuff that he said, and like probably my favorite one is like he said something like we didn't hold on, I have to think. We didn't like that relationship, so we changed it, and that was him referring to Blizzard Activision, or Activision Blizzard. And that's like some fucking like Succession shit right there, right? Like, we didn't like the relationship, so we changed it. I'm buying you. So like that's impressive. I gotta say,
that's Darth Vader stuff.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
I've changed the terms of our agreement. Pray I don't change it again.
Exactly. Okay, so let me ask you this, right? We've talked about like what this changes and what it means to each one of us, and what we think this means for the future and everything like that. What scares you about it potentially?
Failure.
What concerns you?
Failure.
What does that mean?
I will elaborate. So right now, Microsoft has 30 studios under its purview. They do not take over Activision for another 18 months.
Yes. End of 23, right?
Yes. You have factions of Activision that are sitting around under the current current management with things in motion already, like they're pushed for unionization of all the QA testers.
Like I think any game that's in development now, that's in deep development, I would start questioning its quality when it reaches a launch in 23. Because I don't know if that's what you're alluding to, but I would agree with that. I think these things, you're gonna have people that are scared of losing their jobs now. Scared
and they
of what's
may leave
happening.
early.
Yeah, 100%.
You're gonna have talent that leaves early. You're gonna have talent that's gonna stay. You're gonna have talent that's burned out, because the current culture right now is to take all of these other studios, these lesser studios with legacy IP, your Crash Bandicoots, your Toys for Bob. Like, these developers have been forced to only produce supplemental support work for Activision to jam out a Call of Duty every year.
Yeah.
If Microsoft comes in and they're going to realign all that stuff and move those studios, because Phil has mentioned he wants to bring back legacy IP, you're not going to have the infrastructure to be able to generate out a Call of Duty every year. It will have to go biannual or even longer. So
I fucking welcome that. Like, I hope that happens.
You think you welcome that. You welcome that until the point where a Spyro that everybody likes to say, oh, I can't wait for a Spyro or a Banjo, sells 2 million units, while a Call of Duty would have sold 20 million units. I mean, there is a financial aspect to this, but if you stick with the way that we've been talking, and Microsoft is just like, we just want content, throw it on Game Pass, then it's not going to matter. Then they will show that that's what they want. But what do we have coming out this year from any Activision or any ZeniMax studio or Activision studio coming up this year?
Nothing on the cards except another fucking Call of Duty.
Maybe Starfield this year? Maybe.
I think Starfield's November. Or October, maybe something like that. I think so, dude. I should know this, but but I mean, that's Bethesda, and they had Bethesda before it. That's ZeniMax.
You have Bethesda, and they're letting Bethesda run itself, which fine, but they can't let. My point is, in these 18 months, if you let Activision go on the way that it's going on, you're going to have the unionization of QA workers. That will affect the industry. Okay.
Sure, 100%.
So all of Microsoft's best laid plans may be.
Okay, so your concern, if I can paraphrase it, right, then for me to also just join you on this point, is that your concern is any of these studios starting to micro fail or fail has a ripple effect that essentially spoils the broth, so to speak.
It delays it.
Sure.
Though they have
And gets things cancelled, and gets projects fucking shuttered, and gets guys fired, and gets studios closed, and all that. Like the ripple effect is the ripple effect, right? It murders a lot of shit. Yeah, I get that.
In Japan and in China and in a lot of the world, I mean, Diablo is massive.
Yes.
Massive. And they're
the fucking reason we're getting this mobile one. So
right, and Immortal should have been out the door already. Like there's a massive ripple effect. That's concern number one.
Okay.
My concern number two, and my I don't know what's 1A 1B is does Sony flinch? Will they flinch and sell? Will they flinch and rush out Spartan subscription service and its ass, and then they because they already lost 20 billion just on speculation without actually addressing anything.
The market took like a poo on them. 100%.
Right? They need. If I were Sony, I wouldn't try to compete in the space.
You can't
Microsoft.
be reactionary right now.
You cannot be reactionary.
You have to have like a not a unified front, but you get what I'm saying. Like you have to go like, bro, I'm not fucking worried. I'm gonna do me. You fucking do you, and that's the thing. Because
currently, right now, in this current generation, they are outselling Microsoft 2-1 console-wise, and their games are gonna hit. But if I were them, I would say Spartan is not Game Pass. It is our full backwards compatibility library.
That's the thing.
We're gonna give you all of our PS1, all of our PS2.
Yeah, you're not gonna beat them on
PS3.
fucking Game Pass, so go another way.
Go another way. Make it legacy content that will buy you time while you rally up and then come up with a new future strategy.
Sure. Okay, so let me add on to this, like what I think are my fears, I suppose, but also firstly let me I don't know if anybody's I haven't been paying attention, but something that I've come across a lot on the internet is people saying like, why doesn't Microsoft just buy Sony? So, I mean, that's of course ludicrous because there's things like antitrust laws and stuff like that. You cannot have a company that owns two competing consoles in the market and going up against each other to poison share prices and all that. So Microsoft will never fucking do that. It's also like, I love how nobody's having the conversation of what the fuck Nintendo's doing, by the way. Nobody's asking like, what's Nintendo doing? Which is hilarious because 7 of the highest selling games in the world of all time are actually Nintendo games. 7 out of the 10, but in any case. The point is just that I think what happens, right? Let's run some numbers here quickly because I don't know if like this shit always interests me a lot, right? So Microsoft is worth 2.3 trillion right now. They have cash on hand that they could do funky, cute things with, like for instance this Activision Blizzard thing. They had like at the end of 2020, they had 140 fucking billion to burn, baby. So they basically they kind of like crushed half their fucking sack on doing this right at the beginning, right? But that means they still got a lot of fucking flow to do something cute with for the rest of this year. As an example, let's say for instance they wanted to buy Take-Two, right? Take-Two is another fucking 18 billion for them. Boom, that's just done, right? But funnily enough, if they wanted to buy Nintendo, that's only 70 billion and it's fucking done. I mean, it assumes, of course, that the sale happens, but that's my point. The thing is,
I mean, one, you have the raw number of what their value is, but this deal affects things. I mean, you put out 70 billion. Activision Blizzard was assessed for about 37, which is currently what the rate of Nintendo is right now. They're gonna upcharge you if you want to,
because they charge you on future.
Yeah,
they charge you on future, like earnings and all that, especially if it's market gapped ahead and all that. Yeah, right. Sure, 100%. The point, I guess, that I'm trying to make is that I think that we're only now seeing like the beginning of this. We could potentially see something like Apple acquiring Sony, because that would be a very smart buy for them, because Sony essentially they provide the lenses to their fucking cameras, they have the fucking tools delivery system for their content, and they give them a platform, which is the PlayStation, to launch Apple fucking gaming and all that shit, whatever.
Not only that, the Sony Pictures as well. well. You can add that to your Apple TV library and things like that. I think Apple is the company to watch.
Yeah, but that's a conversation for another day. In terms of like what other. I mean, it would be interesting to do a segment of what other big moves we see coming down, and then maybe halfway through the year we get to reflect back on it and go like, holy shit, we got it right, something like that. But the bottom line is just for me that what scares me, and there's a bunch of things, but this is the main thing that scares me, is that these studios, right, that I grew up with, and I'll pick the one which is closer to my heart, which is Blizzard. They're losing their fucking identities. And for me coming up, right, Blizzard was, when I discovered Warcraft and consequently StarCraft when it came out and all that, Diablo, all that, this was like the Mike Moraine era, the Chris Metzen, that shit. And I have still in storage in this building that I live in now, I have my old Blizzard game boxes. I'm not talking about World of Warcraft, I'm talking about fucking Warcraft. And with that big old fat fucking manual that you got with it that had the artwork of Metzen in when he drew like everything. The point is, like, we're past that, right? Nobody's making game boxes with art anymore. My point is, there was an identity there, right? Rock and Roll Racing on Blizzard was I love that game, dude. The point is, the studio had an identity, and when all of this gets sucked up by the octopus, right, and becomes part of this thing, yes, fine, it might. I don't know, man. This is the part where it's confusing to me, because we might end up with something that's more like impressive quality wise down the line, but what I signed up for, my love for Blizzard, is fucking gone. But then I also have to be honest to myself, and that is maybe Blizzard's identity was gone a long time ago.
Well, Blizzard,
and I'm still just grieving.
Maybe you are grieving a corpse, because here's when you thought of Blizzard, the number one thought of Blizzard was quality, was it was Blizzard. It had a feel of like,
Blizzard was Blizzard, and there was no one else like them. That was it.
There was no one else like them.
Yes.
And the way that they mishandled Overwatch, the way that they mishandled the launch of Diablo 3. I mean,
dude, all the IP.
It was almost to the day when they joined. It was almost to the day when they joined up with Activision. I mean, you are mourning the corpse of a lost love still, because
and I mean, it's maybe because my love was that strong that I'm in like a mourning period for like fucking years already. But I think you're right. I think you're fucking right.
We opened with our love for games and the games that we identified with, but to me, still to this day, there is no greater feeling in the history of my gaming experience than killing Arthas, or to do Spine of Deathwing, or to like the shit I've done in World of Warcraft. It is ephemeral, like it is in my soul. Like I can never replicate that, and I have only ever come close with that with a game like a Destiny and its rating. But like even that, as great as it wasn't months of preparation doing fucking a Nubarak, you know what I mean?
But the point stands though, because that's again a studio that very much has its own identity and very much understands its own IP very well. So it still stands to the point, right? You have a studio that you as a consumer show up to that knowing exactly what you're gonna get, and it's gonna be fucking AAA platinum fucking tier quality shit on top of your head. And that hasn't been Blizzard for a very long time.
Right.
So I think I'm mourning a fucking dead, family member, and I just need to move the fuck on, because this Microsoft, acquiring them has actually done nothing, wifey coming in here with a beer delivery. God damn, this shit is so good. Like Microsoft buying them out doesn't actually do anything to this, because the if you want to be that kind of guy, like the fucking stew was already ruined. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and the people that made it that have been gone for a long time.
Long gone. I mean, what's been an eye opener is Madsen's recent tell-all, and we should go into that at some point. About him opening up his, about Blizzard and all that, which was fucking like tear inducing, to be honest.
It is, but a lot of people that are waxing poetic about this deal, you know, your supporters of major corporations buying something, which I don't get because I'll always be an outsider. But it's the hope springs eternal that they're gonna inject life back into these old IP, that they're gonna make it what it was. But those are windows in time. Those are tears in the rain, baby. Like they're washed away, and it's not coming back. Now maybe they can make something good that's different, and it can give you that feel. I love Castlevania. I love it. They haven't made a quality Castlevania for a while now.
It's been a while.
But that show, oh, it hit me in my short and curlies. Like it's fantastic. And if Microsoft can do 10% of that with some of this old IP, if it can make Illidan come back to life, the deal's a success for me, baby. Sign me up. but
dude, if somebody from Microsoft is listening now, they know like a straight pipeline into your heart. You know?
Oh my God, you know, just give me a guy. Yeah, it's a boy. Sign me up, baby.
Oh,
but
shit.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
No, me neither.
From Microsoft proper, there has been only 2 games that I can say are markedly just better than anything else, and that's, to me, I think Forza is head and shoulders above Gran Turismo.
Yeah, but that's Playground Games, baby. They bought them last year.
I know. They bought them. You were getting to my next point. They bought them. And then Gears of War had its time in the sun. Now, is it the same way it was? No, but at the time it was that Microsoft game.
It was good. It was good shit. Like Gears of War now is dog shit.
But I can't think of a strong Microsoft. I can't think of something
Microsoft Flight Simulator, dog.
But that's another game. It's what you make of it. It's like, you know, it's less about that.
Exactly. But I think it's fucking terrible. But the point is, like, I stand 155% emphatically behind you. They have not made anything that made you go like, holy shit, Microsoft knows what's up with the games. So,
right. And
so that's probably what they're doing now.
But there's such an opportunity with these smaller studios to experiment and put something out, get a lump sum of cash, put it on Game Pass, and get it in front of people that they would have never been able to do before. It won't be buried in a Steam index where they'd have to buy it out. It's going to be on Game Pass, and it's going to be available to people.
Let me put it to you this way, like a gambler. Okay, go ahead.
Go on.
Go ahead.
No. I'm going to circle back because I'm going to close this point, but I want to hear what you're going to say.
Okay, fantastic. So, do you know how you make sure you win the lottery?
Bet on black, baby.
Well, that and just buy a fuckload of tickets.
That's true too.
So the thing is, I know what people are saying about Sony the whole time, and I kind of want to toe that line as well. Is Sony just needs to keep doing Sony, and that is producing great first-party fucking games which are exclusive to their platform for a while, and then go to other platforms. A good example, I mean, God of War took too long, but that shows you that PC people eat a good port the fuck up, and they need to do that more. Sony did something right there. That shit, that is fucking cream, baby. So do that more. But the other thing,
you said it was too long.
Yeah, it took too long.
If you rate, if you put, I know you can't do this, but maybe you can because you beat it 7 times in the last 2 weeks. But what can you compare that game to right now, 2022?
That's not why they released it now.
No, they're not. I know that. But what can you compare that to right now? To anything that, if nobody has played it to, it still ranks
in its game type.
Yeah. That came out in the last 2 years. Yeah.
I'll give that to you.
And that is directly put out for this September release of Ragnarok, and that's going to sell PS4s.
You're fucking right, though, but here's the thing. Do you know how many people, even just in my stream and even people that I encounter online, that fucking don't know what God of War is?
But now they will get to know it.
Yes, but that's only a
start on that game.
Correct. But my point is, Sony didn't, whether they released it to prove that in that genre of action RPG, third person action RPG, they are fucking far better than anything else. That, I think that's inconsequential. I think the thing is, this was a move for them to put something out to put onto PC to remind people that, hold on, there are these fucking games out there that are on PlayStation while we're trying to manufacture PlayStations for you to buy. And that's the thing, and that pisses me off, because that product, God of War, is good enough that it doesn't need to be a system seller. It needs to be a game seller. It's a fucking game that should be consumed by anybody everywhere, no matter the platform. And it's why it makes me upset when I have to fucking say to someone when they come onto my stream and go, Jesus Christ, bro, what game is this? And I'm like, no, it's, you know, it's God of War. And they're like, what is it on? I want to play it. And I'm like, no, it's on PC now recently, and it's you know, it's a PlayStation original. They're like, ah, fuck, I'm on Xbox. Like, and that's why I get what Microsoft is trying to do. That's a shitty fucking situation to be in.
It is. I can't argue if it's a shitty situation or not, because Microsoft's betting on the barrier of entry, right? You buy this thing, you buy our 250 Series S, and you can play everything, and then you give us $10 a month, and then you get all of this.
But don't you just get the Ultimate Pass and play all those games on PC?
No, because they separate it. So PC Game Pass is 10% what console Game Pass is.
It's not that little, bro. It's not 10%.
Pretty close. It's 100 games. It's like 100 and something games. There's
no fucking way, dude. Like, there's so many Xbox Game Pass games that I play on PC. Gears of War 5. Yes.
There are infinite. I'm telling you, you can pull it up. That's why they rebranded it. That's why it's PC Game Pass and there's Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass has way more games than PC Game Pass.
You don't think that fucking changes now with this shit?
Well, yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about right now. Sony bet on, they've released 3 first-party games, a 4th to come, okay? And all 3 of them are doing gangbusters, okay?
Yeah.
Horizon, God of War, and Days Gone. And Days Gone saw a ridiculous bump since it went on PC. Stupid. And that's not even one of the greats. And they're going to release Ghost of Tsushima. And they're saying, okay, you didn't try these games out. Try them. Yeah. And guess what? All of their sequels are available on PS4. And the best way to play them are on PS5. And it's going to give people the opportunity to buy a PS4. But they're
still fighting the fucking console war. And
they're fighting the console war as they see it, while Xbox is seeing the future. But here's the thing, though. Microsoft, what is their number one moneymaker? It's Windows. All right. Mm-hmm. They're watching their data intelligence collection is everything. And so everywhere that's a platform, they're seeing the trends. That's how they're able to predictably keep these things and see what Facebook is probably cooking up next. And they're saying, here's how we keep it at bay for now. And so they've made that
it's about future-proofing yourself. And they took big steps to do that.
And that's what they're doing in future. And they're having multiple avenues because they are buying a massive catalog of IP sets. Should they not be able to manage it, they can splinter all of this off. But the biggest thing that is going to be the biggest test, and I saw some of it in the chat, and it's this. Netflix has raised its prices incrementally 7 times in the last 3 years.
But in such little bits that people don't notice it, right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Here's the thing. Microsoft floated a price hike last year, and then they pulled it back because people reacted so harshly. Yeah. They're not ready for it yet.
But you hit them with the 300% and then you give them the 100.
Right. And it's gonna come. Yeah. It's inevitable. I cannot see all of these acquisitions and Game Pass not being 20.
No, for sure, dude. Once you go, Game Pass is 20, but here's the entire fucking back library of Blizzard games. Enjoy, like, dude. And you know how people you give every fucking person backwards compatible Call of Duty from the fucking dawn of time, and you tell them, yeah, this shit'll cost $20. You think they don't fucking buy that?
That's a tricky one because you're gonna have servers for all of those games. I mean, maybe I don't need to get into the nitty to that. But what I'm saying is this:
no, but Azure shards carry that shit though.
That's true. You're right. But the test will be how they gently start conditioning people into saying, here's the price increase.
They got a year and fucking 9 months to do it, bro.
They have more than that. Netflix operated at a loss for almost a decade. Microsoft has ridiculous cash flow because of Windows. It's all how long they want to operate at a loss, because they are operating at a loss, and they can eat that for some time. And I think they are. They
have so
obviously
much cash on hand, though. That's a fucking
they
problem.
do, and they obviously already know what the number is. But it's only a matter of time before they go, okay, we now have the market share.
They go like click and they turn the switch on, and it's fucking. You know, that's the thing. And whether that's halfway through this year or the end of 23 or whatever the fuck that is, the point is they've just bought themselves. You know, it's that thing where you do something, right? And then you know that you've now secured that you only need to really worry about this 6 months from now, where everybody else is going like, oh fuck, I need to bust a move now. I need to do something because these guys just put this stuff on my face. That's the thing. Like the point is, again, we've spent close to 45 minutes on this topic now, right? Let's say 40 minutes, right? But the point is, and we've barely talked about what Nintendo does in this regard. If they do something, I think Nintendo was like, bro, they don't give a fuck. Like, they just keep on selling Mario fucking like Amiibos.
Yeah, it's more than Mario. They innovate, all right?
No,
they have the Amiibos, Switch, DS. Like, they're gonna come up with an alternative way to play. They're not
like a way for you to plug like a fucking Switch into another Switch, and then VR happens, or I don't know, fucking something. But yeah, I don't know, dude. I something that I really do wanna, and this is like a super duper fucking, honestly, I think we could spend like another 4 hours on this. We'd still only be scratching the surface. But
I agree.
I feel we have this other looming fucking giant at the moment, and that is February. Right?
Woo, Feb, baby.
I think it's like Christmas in February, dude. We're getting all our gifts in 1 month, and we just have to deal with it, man. We have to fight all the other kids off those gifts. We just have to eat them up. So what I'm gonna do, right? Because what I thought would be cool for us to do, right? To hear me out, tell me what you think about it. Is what I want to do is I want to pull up the release schedule for February, just the month of February. And then I want us to talk about each one of the games, in some cases probably in brief, in some cases a little bit more. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to ping you for what you think is going to be the beast of February, the one that wins in terms of score. But then at the same time, I want you to tell me which one you think wins in terms of money. And if that happens to be the same one, then let's discuss. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move us over to this screen now. And I'm going to bring up some stuff. Sorry, guys. It's taking like a little bit. There we go. Okay. So what we're seeing here right now is this. I'm using Metacritic, right? So I'm using the
blank screen. There it is.
There we go. Yeah, sorry, a little bit slow, like me, but we go, right? So starting off right off the bat, we have Life is Strange, the remastered collection. So this is like just basically a collection of all of the, I believe it's 5 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. They're being put out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and what upsets me is, or not upsets me, or I have a question is why are there not more platforms here? I don't know, but anyways. I don't think this necessarily does anything fucking magical. I will go right off the bat and say this is a game that I never played. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. Okay. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think we needed this?
It's a very we have 2 rules over here on the Separated at Birth podcast. We don't get into religion, we don't get into politics, but Life is Strange. Life is Strange hits that kaleidoscope of political narrative in the form of social issues. So,
okay. So you mean it has a message that needs to be said?
It has a message that needs to be said. The people that have heard the message credit its storytelling and the execution of its storytelling, dealing with its themes. So
dude, that's a lot of fucking high praise, actually. I mean, you're piquing my interest right now.
I'm not a girl. Check this out. It's very driven towards girls, but it is fantastic storytelling. So if you do have time,
whether it's driven towards girls or not, I mean, if the storytelling is fucking good, then it's good.
Yeah. I misspoke. It is good storytelling, regardless. And I really want to, preface that. So I think it's a really good game. I think the people that like it defend it staunchly. So to do a repackage of the whole thing, to get it give an opportunity for people who say I didn't jump in at Life is Strange, I saw Life is Strange 2, like let me get this whole package. I think it's a good idea to repackage it and push it out. I do agree with your argument earlier though. Why isn't it on more platforms? I think that's a valid criticism.
Like the Switch is delayed for some reason, which is not good. So anyway, I think we.
But I wouldn't put it next to the game that you have it next to.
Yeah, so that's the 1st of February, and then Dying Light 2 comes out the 4th of February, right? So this is on PS5, Xbox X, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Again, Switch is delayed until later in the year. But the bottom line is this is it's really starting out to be something. They're pushing it fucking like nuts on Twitch, not Twitch, on Twitter and most social platforms. It's a big deal. The early feedback that have been coming from channels that have King Brickwall with the sub, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. So this is a game that is very much it's the people that have played pre-release versions of this, earlier versions of this, right? They have said that there's some things that concern them, like floaty combat and all of that. But everything that I've seen about this makes it look like a game. Like if I enjoyed Dying Light 1, this is Dying Light 1 but with like 200% more cool shit to do. So I'm in. I'm good to go.
So to let the viewers know, early impressions of Dying Light 2 embargo lifted today, but the review embargo is still on. So early impressions have started hitting the net today. I have watched some of the early impressions, and yes, like you said, people who are fans of Dying Light 1 will not be disappointed. It is bigger but more of the same, essentially, but refined. And as someone who did not play the original Dying Light, everything that I've seen has me super excited, super excited, and it is one that I hope that we can collaborate on and play together.
Okay, well, I mean, that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to most. It's the fact that except for the prologue and the epilogue, the entire game can be played co-op, the whole thing. And the point goes that if you are doing only story-based content, you're looking at 40 to 50 hours. If you're doing everything with all side quests and getting all items in the game and fucking crafting everything, you're looking at close to 500 hours, which is out there. But okay, so that's okay, we're gonna go through the entire list, right? And then we'll do our predictions, right? Is that cool? Okay.
I love it.
100%. Okay, so then we have Ollie World. The less said about that, the better. So I will give some explanations. Ollie World is a skateboarding game, kind of like in the vein of something like Skate or Tony Hawk. The only difference being that it's essentially only in 2D or scale 3D, and it's basically viewed from like this, you know, like this running in front of you essentially, and you have some tricks and stuff that you can do. There's been an Ollie 1 and an Ollie 2. I played Ollie 1 on fucking mobile, like when it came out. It was kind of like a cute game. So this is of course like hitting like the shotgun of all platforms, and that's generally an indication of a game that doesn't really know where its home is. So yeah, any case, that's just my opinion.
So like you, I played it on Vita, and
here we go.
Yeah, and I do think it is a great bite-sized mobile game. Like to have it on like a Vita or like a Steam Deck. Ooh, I can't wait for that, baby.
Or a Switch. It's perfect for a Switch.
Or a Switch. Yeah. But to put it up like against the fourth game down I see on there, no mas.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Okay, so that's 8th of February, of course, for Ollie World. Of course, the other thing that drops on the 8th, and funnily enough, if you have any form of a fucking Founders Pack, then you also get Lost Ark on the 8th, by the way. So this release here of the 11th is for just if you show up as a free player. If you've bought even the smallest Founders Pack, which I believe is the 20 US pack or something like that.
20 US,
yeah, that gets you in at the 8th as well, by the way. But in any case, Sifu drops on February the 8th on PC, PS5, and PS4. And essentially what it is, it's a martial arts fighting adventure game with a very unique sort of caveat to it that every time you die in the game, you age. And so the point is that you're trying to get from one side of the game, the beginning, to the end of the game at the youngest possible age. And that'll be where the whole speed run, get good kind of mentality comes in. Now, the game has, like I said, it's a martial arts based system where you get skill points and things like that, and using certain skills levels up other skills. And so the point is you kind of are expected to die a little bit to get better skills, but still you're trying to, you know, get good. Now, initial reviews of this, or not reviews, but impressions rather, have been fucking stellar, have been really good. And I really like the style of the game. I think the martial arts is impressive. The way that it's showed. There's a little bit of like, if I'm gonna be like a nitpicking asshole, I'll say the connections of some of the hits look a little bit strange. It's not perfect, is what I'm saying, when it comes to melee combat and all that. But it's an extremely ambitious thing, and it's by Devolver. Well, Devolver is the producer of it. And I support anything they make, to be honest. I like them as a I don't know what you say, a franchise, a producer, whatever. But Sifu, have you checked it out? Do you know anything about it?
I'm huge into following Sifu. It's gonna hit me right where I live, of a game that has a lot of strategy, a lot of like frenetic action and pacing. I do see about your collision detection with some of the fighting.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you for that.
Because you're gonna fight multiple enemies at a time. You're gonna have weapons. You're gonna be able to use the environment. It's like, I think of it like a Yakuza combat, but a little bit more in the vein of a fighting game, where it's a little bit tighter, and you're gonna have skills that you level up, and you're gonna have input commands. So I'm in love with it. I think it looks fantastic. I've heard the early impressions are very positive. If you get good at the game, it is pretty short to complete. So I don't know if it's going to be a game that's going to be like a wait for a PlayStation Plus or wait for a Steam sale. But from what I've seen, and because I am a content creator, I am someone that wants to be able to put games in front of the people. I am eager to dive into this game without the stress of it being a long time that I'm gonna have to put into it, because there are so many other games coming into February. I will be there on day one, so I can jump into it, get a mean bite out of it, and then move on to the next thing.
Exactly. There's of course no plans for future content for anything, so it's going to be one of those like once and done kind of affairs. So once you feel that you are good enough at the game, you know, obviously you'll move on. But it'll definitely be a fun thing to maybe compete on, you know, with your buddies, with each other, something like that. Okay, Crossfire X. Crossfire is an FPS franchise. It's nothing fantastic. I am a FPS, you know, connoisseur of sorts. So I'm not that much of a fan. It's of course exclusive in this, you know, the February 10th launch to Xbox X and Xbox One. Its whole appeal is the fact that it has extremely flashy visuals and very good, you know, bullet penetration and whatever mechanics. That's a hard pass for me. It's not really something that I'm interested in. I don't know if you have anything more to add on to Crossfire.
First-person shooters is not my particular forte in genre. Like I go back to the day I tried Resistance, I tried, you know, Killzone on PlayStation, and it never compared to a Halo or a Call of Duty. And so that kind of just made me tiptoe into the first-person shooter genre. I would really need to be recommended by someone I respect or someone that wants to play together for me to jump into an FPS. It's just FPS.
Okay, that's a no fly for me, baby. So let's go ahead and skip this one.
Yeah, so FPSs are like comfort food. If it's not something that's of the familiar, I'm not going to give it the time of day, unfortunately. True. But my mind is always open to be changed.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm always ready to be pleasantly surprised. That's a good way to put it. Okay, then we get to the fucking 900 kilogram fucking gorilla. In that I think this is a weird one, right? So Lost Ark is a powerhouse of sorts when it comes to free to play gacha like Gotcha is maybe the wrong way to put it. So when it comes to free-to-play games with a store that allows you to fast-track your progress, this thing is fucking a monster in Korea, and it's huge in Russia, right? It's in the top 3 in both those fucking geographical areas. And it's said to obviously do something sort of similar in North America and Europe. The premise here, of course, is that this is a massive multiplayer online RPG played in a Diablo-like fucking, viewpoint, or whatever you want to put it that way, game style. And it is free to play on the 11th of February. You do not have to pay a fucking cent to access literally months of content. This game is phenomenally fat and huge. There is PvE, there's PvP, there is leveling 1 to 50, and then you actually get your character, but then there's a whole bunch of other shit you can do that gets you more skill points and gets the tripod system and gets your character fleshed out further. And then there's raids and there's chaos dungeons. There's all this stuff that you can do for free. None of this costs any money. It's fucking free. All that it requires is time input from your side. There's a cash shop though, however, that allows you to fast track a bunch of these things by, for instance, buying crafting material and things like that, which allow you to get you up quicker to certain gates which are in the game, which allow you access to certain things like raids or tier 2 raids, tier 3 raids, and so on and so forth. So there's a part of this thing. This is a very interesting conversation that you can have with a Lost Ark purist, where they will shit in your face when you call it pay to win, and they'll say it's pay to advance. Fine. The point is, money gets you there quicker, and this game definitely has that. The thing is, this is a game that is very much, it has a huge amount of following worldwide, and you have people paying copious amounts of fucking dollars to use VPNs and secure connections, all that shit, to play in Russia and play in Korea. And so this is finally now coming to, a North American audience and a European audience. It's a big fucking deal. This game is gonna be big. That there's no two stories about it. It is, however, an MMORPG, and so it's a certain kind of game, and it's not for everybody. I in my life these days, I approach MMORPGs gingerly, very carefully, because I just don't have the time for them anymore. I think if you have the time, the aplomb, the ability, and the want / the need to sacrifice all your gaming time into one game, I don't think you can go wrong with Lost Ark. And I'll say this emphatically because the other MMORPGs that are available to us right now as gamers are not that fucking great. World of War Classic can whistle my butt, and all of the other ones can really go take a fucking walk off a pier. So except for Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, I've never played it before, but goddamn, that's a hot bitch. So yeah. So with that super long fucking story, Roman, opinions on Lost Ark, what's up?
Opinions of Lost Ark. Okay, Lost Ark is a very special case because you alluded to other MMOs, and as a longtime World of Warcraft player and as a longtime Final Fantasy player, I played Final Fantasy from Realm Reborn all the way up until the first expansion, and then I just fell off just due to life changes. It's a funny thing when it comes to Lost Ark, because a lot of those games as a new player, there's a lot of like, I don't know if I want to jump in there and try it because I can't get in on the ground floor. There's so much makeup work I have to do. And then a game like Lost Ark is objectively just, the fidelity of the game is phenomenal. Yeah. You and I spent some substantial time playing the beta. We both maxed out characters. You can play the game by yourself through the end of the whole single player campaign and get substantial time in the game. You can do dungeons and you can matchmake. You can get a good bite of the game without having to be a full sweat lord and play the game. So I think that's a great thing. There's little things like owning property and doing Susie Homemaker, which entices a lot of people who like to collect.
Yeah, you got that Sims 4 vibe going there, like
you got that
shit,
Sims vibe, you got the crafting vibe, and you have the great particle effects, ability flashes going in your face. And if you want to dip your toe into PvP, there is a very hardcore PvP scene. The game touches all of the quadrants. If you like a Diablo style game, this will scratch that itch for a time. For me, it gives me hives thinking about it because it's everything I love, and I love the game, but I don't know in my current position in my life if I can touch it and then not get absorbed by it.
I thought about a really fucked up analogy that I was gonna use now, but I'm not gonna, right? So in actuality, what I'll say is this: it reminds me of that weekend away that I can't afford. That's the best way I can put it. Like, Lost Ark has everything I want in a good time. I just don't know if I can afford her. Yeah. Okay, so that's Lost Ark. Now I'm gonna pick up a little bit of speed because we have some not low titles. God, I'm not. If anybody's a fan of any of this, you know, and I noticed I didn't say shit, but if you're a fan of any of this stuff, I'm not trying to. But I'm trying to like pick on the ones which are kind of like destined to be something. So I mean, you know, I'm sorry, but Ollie World, come on, right? So Dynasty Warriors, 9 Empires. Look, anything that has fucking 9 behind it, bro, like I'm scared. But I'm seeing a thumbs up from Roman there, so I'm not even gonna say a fucking word. Go, dog.
Listen,
do your thing.
Let me tell you about Zhuge Liang and Liu Bei and Guan Yu and Cao Cao. Okay.
No, thank you.
All right. All of those things in Dynasty Warriors. All right. It is some next level stuff, baby. No. I used to play a lot of Dynasty Warriors, but I have long since departed the franchise. Move on.
What at like number 2? Okay, Rumbleverse. Okay, so you know that I dabble in Warzone. I dabble in battle royales, right? And so Rumbleverse is a different take on battle royales, where essentially you have these cartoon-like characters, and it very much focuses on melee, and it's basically you get shot out of a cannon onto a fucking map, and you climb across roofs and look for weapons, and it's got like a very robust, you know, like hand-to-hand combat melee system built into it. It's very interesting. I got into the beta extremely late, and I managed to get like, I'm saying a handful of matches. I think I played 4. It might have been 5. I walked away from those laughing my ass off at how funny like some of the stuff, like beating someone over the head with a fucking trash can while they're busy fighting another guy that's got a baseball bat to their head. You know, it's everything that you like about the idea of a battle royale where you can sneak up on somebody and third party them when they're gunfighting someone. This is just dialed up to like, because it's cartoony and it's these over the top characters, all of that stuff. I think it's gonna be funny, and I don't know if it has the longevity or anything like that, but it certainly is something that gets me, you know, scratches my battle royale itch, but gets me not playing Warzone, which I get fed up with sometimes, is what I'm trying to say. So, you've seen Rumbleverse?
I've only seen the trailers and everything like that. Actually, you talking about it kind of excited me a little bit. So if it was a game that on my radar, it would have to be a Game Pass game or a PlayStation Plus giveaway for me to really dive into it and give it a shot. But I don't know, the way you made it sound funny like that, I might give it a peek when it comes out.
I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be a surprise hit. I think it's gonna be a surprise hit in the way that, what is that game where you play with the little minions where you have to like fucking compete in these events that kind of got streamers like off for a while?
I only watch Amaranth. You gotta give me more information.
Okay, hold on. I'm not gonna fucking Google it on this page, you know. There's a, okay, maybe someone in the audience can help us out, but in any case, we
lost the screen.
Yeah, it should be back now. Yeah, it should be back now. There's a fuck. Okay, it'll come to me just now. But the point is, this seems to be something that is not necessarily Fall Guys. There we go.
Fall Guys.
B-Master, you fucking hot piece of B-Master. Yes, Fall Guys. And so Fall Guys still has a dedicated following right now, right? But it's certainly fallen off the map as to what it was at for stage. But there was like a good fucking 2 months, maybe like 16 weeks, that Fall Guys was like, you know, I mean, you had the likes of Dr. Disrespect and fucking Tim the Tatman and these guys playing it, right?
All of Rooster Teeth.
Who are staunch fucking bullet-based battle royale players. These guys stepped off of, you know, things like Warzone to play this game. So, yeah. So I think it'll probably fill in that niche, and whether it can stretch its longevity out, you know, that remains to be seen. Okay. Assassin's Creed Ezio Collection, get the fuck out. This is a Switch release of those 3 games that form part of that. If that's your thing, if you got a Switch and for some reason you've been living in a fucking cave or on the island that you know, what's his name was lost on,
Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, I was gonna say the guy with the ball as a friend. But then yeah, but then maybe you don't know fucking Assassin's Creed, but yeah, no, thank you. Okay, and then we get to one where I can basically go for a pee break, and you can take care of this. And actually, that's what I'm, Roman. With all respect possible, I've been delaying this for a while, but I got that old man bladder, and you know how it is. So I'm gonna step off 2 seconds quickly while I run to the bathroom. But I want you to tell these people what you think about King of Fighters. That's 15, right? My Roman numerals are not failing me.
Are you okay?
With
Buster
my bladder?
Wolf, baby. Okay. Buster Wolf. That's a reference to King of Fighters. But King of Fighters 15, the slogan for this game is shatter your expectations. I don't think my expectations have been shattered about what I've seen and what I've played during the 2 betas for this game, but I can't deny the graphics for the game look amazing. The fighting styles are fantastic. The roster is fat. There's so many players that they added to this. If you are interested in fighting games and you haven't dipped your toe, the network test had rollback netcode for this game. If you don't know what rollback netcode is, it is a mechanism for network connection and playing the game where you will have run into minimum lag and delayed frames to play the game with someone from across the world and have minimal impacts, so that way your input commands go in a relative quick amount of time so you can play the game. If you are fighting game curious, there are 2 games that I really recommend people to dip their toes into. One being Guilty Gear Strive that just came out, and the other one being King of Fighters 15. I think it's going to be a fantastic entry into the series. I'm super excited. SNK is making a great comeback with this game and the new Metal Slug that's coming out here shortly. So with Metal Slug and King of Fighters, it is going to be just a fantastic time. So yes, if you are fight game curious, King of Fighters 15 is going to be a huge staple on my channel. I'm going to do tutorials. I'm going to do input commands. I'm going to do trials. We're going to crank up the difficulty to 1,000,000, and you're going to watch me sweat over this game. So yes, my friend, King of Fighters 15 is going to be a serious part of my life. That I will be playing all hours of the day. They brought back my main, Andy Bogard, and
I know who that is.
I'm going to be playing the man who gets to go to bed with my Shiranui. It is going to be incredible. And yes, there will be a lot of Roman rages when it comes to that game.
I need to just take a moment out here and just love you for a minute for just how passionate you are about that game and that franchise, dude. I've
made a lot of kids cry, baby, since 1992.
Doves and kids, right? When doves and kids cry, baby.
There's a lot of kids. Listen, the my handle, Roman Wins. What you see, what you are getting to know in the Separated at Birth stream came from the fighting game community. I wanted the last thing for people to see was my player ID saying Roman Wins, because that's what happened when they ate a 10-piece combo and went to sleep at night. So I can't express it enough how much I love the genre.
I love it.
And what it means to me.
Okay, phenomenal. All right. So then we're gonna go over to something which I'm gonna go fucking super light on and kind of skip, and I don't mean to get into any fucking poo for that, but first of all, I don't feel that I should be commenting on any Total War games because I haven't ever played any one of them. That's point number 1. Point number 2, this is Total War Warhammer 3, which it includes a franchise which I really love, which is Warhammer. But this is, like I said, in the Total War universe. So this is the 3rd incarnation of this title. It is something that has been delayed twice, if I'm not mistaken, and it's very much awaited. And so this February 17th date hopefully doesn't ship. The game hasn't gone gold yet, which is not a fucking great sign. But that being said, Roman, anything to add about Mr. War over here?
I love Total War. It's a fantastic franchise. Total War Troy and Total War Amazons was a lot of fun. It's a strategic game where you position your battle units across the continent, and then you engage in these battles. It gives me those feelings back to the original, like PS2 and Kessen. Like, I don't know if you ever played that game, but they're a lot of fun. Total War is a great franchise. They have refined the craft, and introducing the Warhammer franchise into Total War is going to be a treat for people of fans of that genre who may not know the Warhammer franchise. I cannot wait for this game. I don't know how it will do financially, or I know how it will do critically, because the Total War franchise is super tight.
Yeah, it does well.
Super tight.
It's always quality though, I know that, and I think it has an average fucking Metacritic across the board of like above 88. So I mean, that's nothing to fucking scoff at. So yeah. Okay, then I guess the fucking 900 fucking pound metallic gorilla in the room, and the beast from the motherfucking West, right? Horizon Forbidden West is of course Sony's big push for one of their beloved franchises, of course, the continuation of the story of Aloy. And her having to deal with recently the story trailer was released, which was illuminating in a way, because we could see a little bit more. We've been seeing the tech, and we saw that from the PlayStation show days, but now we could actually understand a little bit more about what the story was about. So we had some fan favorite characters that showed up there. Lance Henriksen is fucking not Lance Henriksen. Jesus, what am I saying? But I've now.
Were you thinking it? Were you gonna say Lance Reddick, the voice actor of the?
Yeah, but that's him. That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said Lance Henriksen, which is of course like not him, but yes. Thanks for that save there, by the way, because I was literally going like the guy from that fucking series that we all love so much. Yes, you see. So this is what happens to me right late at night. So in any case, yeah. So it's very much a continuation. The spoiler alert, but the way that the last game set it up right at the end is that he was kind of like more a menacing persona than an actual ally, and that he had his own agenda. And so this definitely seems to be exploring more of that. The bottom line is we're gonna get more Horizons. That's more fucking dinosaurs, more crafting, more abilities, more traversal, going vertical with things like a fucking zip line and being able to glide, as well as going into the ocean and being able to swim. There's obviously going to be more mount options and everything like that. The bottom line is it's again a case of like, if you liked Horizon Zero Dawn, then this is just an auto buy for you, because it's Horizon Zero Dawn on crack. That being said, there have been no early indications from any people. They have been zipped up tighter than, I don't know, like a mannequin's buttocks. So there's literally been no news about this. I don't think anybody is worrying that this is going to be a fucking critical failure, anything like that. I think they'd have to go a long way for this to be a failure, and this is definitely one of the ones which probably smash a fucking hole right through February. So that's my opinion about Horizon Forbidden West. Yours, Roman?
I have a hot take. I'm not a fan of the franchise.
This I know. Did you finish the original?
I played, I want to say 12 hours. It was one of those things where I was just like,
what drove you off it?
So many people want to so this game came out around the same time as Spider-Man PS4.
No, no, like a good fucking 6 months before it. So this was February 2000 and god damn, I want to say 16. I don't know.
I wish I could remember, but there was a release around the same time, a big game, and I was playing that game. And everybody kept telling me you have to play Horizon. No, Breath of the Wild. It was Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it launched within days of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it was Breath of the Wild, and I was engrossed in Breath of the Wild.
So you went the Breath of the Wild route. I went the Horizon route. I played Breath of the Wild months later.
And I played Breath of the Wild till the cows came home. I absolutely adored that game. It touched my heart. I love that game.
It's So
I love that franchise. And then when I eventually came around and I put that game down, and all of the press came out on Horizon, everybody said how amazing the franchise was. I went in there, I tried, I gave it a good try, gave it 12 hours, and it just never
look.
grabbed
Horizon
me.
Horizon carries heavy though, right? The predominantly the thing is that it's a character that's not overly sexualized and you know all that. So she's like the anti fucking Lara Croft, blah 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 blah. You know, there's a whole bunch of that shit added onto it. But the bottom line is this, like, if you boil into and this is the sad thing that I have to say, like, the actual story of Horizon Zero Dawn and why the world is in the state that it's in, and the disrepair, and why there are fucking mechanical dinosaurs walking around, anything like that, was really well fucking thought of, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of those games where, you know, like story games are usually very strong at the beginning when you get into the universe, but then later on you're just like, fuck it, just get this off my back, right? This shit was the other way around. It was at the beginning, you fell in love with the mechanics of the game and, you know, fucking dinosaurs, but then when you get to the back part of the game, it's the story that does it for you, because you realize like what went wrong and how this happened. So I don't have to have huge hopes for the success of this. This thing is going to be a fucking monster, right? But personally for me, I am super excited to go back to this fucking world.
Yeah, I'm the outlier. There have been too many people in this game that I respect, and people that whose opinions I genuinely align with, and I can go to the bank based on when they tell me to play a game. This is just one of the rare ones, and it might have been that it got better later, or it could have just been the time that I played it and what I played around it, because I wasn't on the initial rush of it, because there was nothing like it when it came out. But it was ironic though, because like you said, the people went up two paths. All my friends who played Zelda told me that this was a better Zelda. And I was like, but I just played one of my favorite Zeldas ever.
Oh,
and
I wouldn't make that comparison at all. Firstly, and secondly, I let me be one of the first ones to say Horizon Zero Dawn was like 12 to 15 hours too long.
So for this one, it's going to be a wait and see for me. I want to see the reviews. Okay. And if people are liking it, I'll do one of the things that I do when I jump into a franchise where I didn't get into the first one. I won't go back and replay. I will watch Let's Plays. I will watch the story cutouts, and then I'll jump in. I have
15 episodes of a Let's Play of Horizon Zero Dawn.
You do?
It's one of my first things I ever made on my channel, dude. It's so cringe. No, please don't watch. I'm just letting you know. I'm going to go hide them all right now. Anyway, okay. Destiny motherfucking 2 the Witch Queen. Okay, I'm gonna do something different now. I'm gonna let you go first. Go.
Destiny 2 the Witch Queen. All right. So one of my favorite things to do when I got into Destiny, I love the franchise. Let me point that out. I would be on My Name Is Byte. I would watch all of the deep lore dives. I would eat up the grimoires.
So good though.
Of the Taken. All right, I know about the Sword Realm, like all of that lore, and to have the Witch Queen come out, to have Sabathun's song, like, yeah, it was just like for the players that knew about this stuff and invested into that story. This is just there's so much teasing of payoff that it's so tantalizing. But I do have the fear of, I've tried multiple times to jump back into Destiny without having a community, doing it myself just to feel that story. But the joy of playing that game with a dedicated squad and like achieving all of the raids up to and after the last wish, I'm very excited for it. I hope that my community will join me on that journey. I do want to jump back into this game, but I don't know if I can do it alone.
We're gonna do it together.
Well, you heard it here first, people.
We're gonna do it together. We're gonna make a separated at birth clan, a full measure clan, a Roman wins clan, whatever the fuck you want to call it, but we're gonna do it together. Because I tell you one thing categorically, Roman, when we're going into those dry months, you know, like May, June, and July, this is the game that's gonna carry us.
Yeah,
I believe it in my heart.
So I'm excited for it, and I hope the people are there for it too.
I think the Witch Queen is going to be hugely successful. It's Destiny's storytelling is on like a different level right now, and they're starting to hit the high notes of what the franchise is about, and they're starting to answer. This is very much attaching on to what Roman said. They're starting to answer a lot of the really fucking big questions right now when it comes to what happens to certain characters, what it means for certain allegiances and all of that. And that's starting to happen. We're coming full circle to a lot of the storylines that were started fucking years ago with this shit, and it's very exciting to see what they're gonna do with this. The repetitive nature, unfortunately, of Destiny is always going to be there, and you're going to be doing the same strikes and you're going to be doing the same activities, all of that. But if that's something that you can look past, you are playing a game that has some of the best fucking gunplay, bar none, in the type of game that it is. That's point number one. And point number two, it's probably in the most healthiest, I don't know, most complete state that this game can be in like forever. So if you had any kind of like, if you've always been like a fence sitter on Destiny 2, if you've been sleeping on that shit, well, you always had an excuse to play something else. I can tell you right now, categorically coming from me, that you couldn't look at a better time getting into this motherfucker. Witch Queen on the February 22 also resets and takes a lot of the old content out, so removes a lot of the old stuff that you would have had to go farm and go like, oh fuck, I don't have this weapon or this thing, so I can't raid with you. That's all fucking gone. They reset it to a degree. So
to a degree. So I mean, we could put it out here to our community, to the separated at birth people. If that is something that you were tiptoeing in, if there was a fear of not having a community of people to play Destiny with,
there will be one here,
and you want to get back into it, look us up. Hit us up on our socials, join our Discords, and follow the channel. We will get back into that game, and you're more than welcome to come on the ride with us. What do we got next?
Monarch.
I don't know what that is.
I do, because I did research, but very much like stubbing your toe on an errant cupboard, I'm upset that this occurred to me. So Monarch is, it's not terrible. It's just when it's, so Monarch is an RPG that's PC, PS5, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. It's a classic fantasy-based RPG. The point being that it is literally surrounded by like NBA All-Stars, and it is literally someone that's just recently understood that a ball is circular and not square. So the point that I'm trying to make is it's very much like a it's in a very bad place in terms of launching window, anything like that, and I don't think Monarch launches very favorably in that way. I do believe it has some kind of a following in like because it has some kind of like a following in terms of like where was the, it has some kind of a following in terms of like a fan base that's based in, you know, like other genres, anything like that. It's also released by NIS America, which makes a lot of these fly by night RPG kind of like situations. So yeah, I don't expect great things from it, and I think we've already spoken about it too long, to be honest.
I was about to cut you off. I think we spent enough time on Monarch. What else do we got in February?
Martha is fucking dead. All right. She's not fucking dead. She's just dead.
No.
Okay,
why did you say that name?
Yes.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, I know that it's both your mothers, okay? But just deal with it. It's not that Martha. It's a different Martha. Be cool.
Listen.
So... Dude, I was trying to get over here. Help me get here. Okay, so Martha's Dead is a first-person horror adventure on PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox One X, and Xbox X. It actually looks pretty fucking scary, to be honest. I don't know, it's just one of those additional horror fucking games that you can play or something like that. This has actually been plagued by like delays. This has been delayed 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. It was originally supposed to launch literally almost a year ago. So I don't know if that's indicative of its quality or anything like that, but I can put it to you this way. This is not on my wish list in any way or form, and probably not something. I'm very particular when it comes to the horror games that I, procure and the ones that I enjoy. I don't particularly assign value of horror to shock horror. I understand that that's a big thing, throwing stuff at the screen to scare me. That's cute. But I think psychological horror and a feeling of dread is far more scarier for me. But that's generally why things like this fall away. Roman, anything to add before we move on?
Survival horror is particularly my genre. I love survival horror games.
This is not that.
Yeah, and I have not really dabbled too much in the horror genre. As a content creator, as a primary streamer, it is something that I was looking to explore with my audience. But this one hasn't hit my radar yet. It kind of fell off the table after the couple delays. I did like hear about it, but I just wasn't focused on it. So it's not on my radar right now. It's gonna have to be a wait and see for me.
Okay. I'm gonna do something provocative now, and I'm gonna say Grid Legends, which is coming out. Hold on. Oh, fuck me. Grid Legends, which is coming out on February 25th, which is PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox X, is a game along the same lines as Gran Turismo, something like that. It's a sim fucking racing game, and that's cool. If you're into that sort of thing, then there should be more of the same for you. But the other game that's coming out on February 25th is...
Hold on.
Yes.
Did you know that Grid Legends delivers thrilling wheel-to-wheel racing across the globe? You can create and dominate dream events and experience dramatic virtual production.
I did not know that.
Oh wow! Well, tell me more about Elden Ring.
Hold on. But is it also true that Grid Legends allows for full inclusion of any race peripherals like steering wheels and full mocap suits where you can sit in and experience the true force feedback realism of racing a fucking car?
My nipples are hard. Tell me more.
Yes. On that note, I will say something that my father said to me a very, very long time ago, and that is when the whole heyday of people that were, a thing that swept the craze in South Africa was people playing FIFA rugby. That was a thing. And so my dad said, "You motherfuckers, if you want to play rugby, here's a ball, there's some grass over there, go play it," right? And when it comes to racing games, I kind of feel the same way. Like, either race for real or play something like Forza Horizon, where you're chopping cactuses off at 240 fucking kilometers per hour in a fucking Lamborghini, driving through a desert while it's impossible for you to crash. That's my point. Okay,
I agree.
Elden fucking Ring is a phenomenon, and I will start it off by saying why I think it's a phenomenon. It's a From Software game, which is generally considered to be this game that is defining in a way as to its audience. It's hated by people for being extremely difficult, and generally because of this thing that's attached to it, where the minute you complain about a From Software game being too hard, people tell you, "Get good, you piece of shit, like you're a terrible gamer." So the point is, it's polarizing in that way because it's always been thought of to be this almost like an elitist game that only like the best of gamers attempt to play, but more importantly, finish when they're playing. Elden Ring looks to bridge that gap in a way by being, first of all, much more mainstream than any From Software game has ever been before, but also introducing an open world component to it, which is sure to grab the people that, for instance, as an example, like something like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is also an open world game, or an Assassin's Creed or whatever. I don't know what that means for the difficulty of the game. I was not fortunate enough to play the network test, but I know people that have, and so I've collected feedback from that. The feedback that I have collected is that Elden Ring is a refinement of the From Software formula. It is the tightness and the beauty of combat and all of that you normally see in these games, the understanding of frame switching and fucking beautiful combat that comes with those bosses, and understanding those enemies, and fit into an open world model which literally says, here's the one side of the map, there's the other side, we'll meet somewhere in the middle, let's fucking go. I can tell you that I am super excited for this game because I am a newcomer to the From Software. I've always been familiar with those games, but I'm a late bloomer with them. I love them now, I didn't before. So Elden Ring is a natural evolution for me as a gamer into that genre, but it is extremely impressive to me to see the amount of support and love that this game has garnered from people that generally would walk past it, is what I'm trying to say. Roman.
I just think the game has done a marvelous job in hype. It's a masterclass in hype. You rode the wave of the first announcement trailer talking about George R.R. Martin at the peak of the Game of Thrones hype machine. And that got a lot of non-FromSoft people to look at the game, give it an eye. Then you had games coming out that were getting FromSoft games that had more accessibility, like a Sekiro or the remake of Demon Souls, and a lot of influencers going out there playing the games and showing more people because of the curiosity of an Elden Ring. Here's this game and here's what it's like. It even did it to me. It made me go back into my catalog to play for my viewers, play Sekiro and show them. And then it did something to me. It was like I was already hyped for this game. It got me.
It's got you more, right? It's got you like tripped
up
more.
It got me more. And then you hear the positive feedback from the network test, and then you see the trailer at the Game Awards, the beauty of it, the scale of it. And you have your open world players that see this fantastic world. You have the high fidelity of its beautiful graphics. You have the tight combat system of people like me who are all about execution. I am the excellence of execution.
Dude, I showed you that fucking clip with the iframes where it dodges the fucking sword coming in, and the guy goes perfectly in and like counters it. Like the iframes on this game is insane.
And you hear things from people that it is going to be less punishing, so you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be able to get into the game.
Opens the gates, right? Opens the gates.
It opens the floodgates. It's a perfect storm. They almost are now at critical mass of hype, which makes me think that a lot of people may kind of wait and see. So it has to hit it out of the park. I'm confident it will, and I'm going to be here for the ride. And I'm super, super excited for this game.
So they have stupid numbers when it comes to being wishlisted, but they also have ridiculous pre-orders. Plus, it's kind of like a fortuitous in this way. Today they also went gold, so we know for a fact there's no delay coming, anything like that. It's definitely happening. So it went gold today, and it's fucking go time. I think it's impossible for the game to fail at this point in time. The only thing that could potentially happen, and I will be the first one to laugh like a fucking buffoon when it does, is with this idea that this game brings this inclusion, it ends up being brutally fucking hard, right?
That's my hope. That's my hope.
And it's just, people get up to that first boss and they're like, God damn. Like they did with Sekiro, dude. People rated Sekiro as a terrible game because it was so hard. And that made dude, when I saw these media houses like fucking rating this shit out, and I could tell it's because they couldn't beat the bosses. They got fucking upset because the game's hard. I was like, that's okay, dude. That's not a bad game. That just means it's not for you, baby. There's a difference.
I'm a selfish person. My hope is that this game financially does well. A lot of people buy it. They're invested in the world. They're invested in the game. Then they get their asses handed to them, and then they come to me, they come to you, and they watch us make it look easy, baby.
Well, I mean, I'll be out there cheesing it with the magic, right? So, I mean, I'll just be like, pew, 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 like shooting while I'm drinking a beer, and you'll be doing the actual fucking combat. So I mean, okay, Rome. So, predictions. I want to know from you two things. I want to know commercial success, so that means financial. All right, biggest one for February out of all the ones that we talked about now, and it cannot be Ollie Ollie World. I know how you feel about that fucking game, but it cannot be that. So I want biggest financial success, biggest commercial success, but then I also want from you overall biggest success in terms of like rating, right? So what takes the most 100 must plays home, for example?
They had to produce more PS4s in the last 2 months. It's not a coincidence what the first game out of the chute is. Horizon Forbidden West is going to be the financial bomb, in my opinion. I think that game's going to make all the money. Hurts me to say it, but that's the one that I think. I think enough people, I know that Elden Ring is going to sell like gangbusters, but I think that there will be enough people that wait and see. and then they're gonna be like, I don't want to get my nuts crushed that hard. I think financially, Horizon Forbidden West is going to make all the money. There are so many PS4s in circulation. It's over 100 million that are out in the wild. And the game is available on that platform. It will be the biggest game of that platform. And I just can't see any. It would be extremely shocking to me I think it's a 2-horse race between Elden Ring and Horizon. And it would be a complete stunner to me if Horizon didn't win that financial crown.
It's just a huger amount of people that can consume the one versus the other, right?
Correct.
That's man. Okay. So hold on. So that's your commercial success. What is your highest rated game?
I don't think you have the combination of open world, tight combat, graphic fidelity. There's too many tent poles, and we know nothing about the narrative written by George R.R. Martin. There are too many slices that Elden Ring can hit for it to not be critically the game of the year. Like game of this moment, because there's a little thing dropping in September.
There's a fucking man with a beard that you don't want to fuck with. All right?
You don't want to mess with that man.
You don't want a guy with a fucking stripe tattoo across his face. That's all I'm saying.
Even if you gave the edge in storytelling to Horizon Forbidden West, the mechanics, the graphic, well, maybe not the graphics.
I wouldn't though. I think George R.R. Martin, who was given free reign with this, like as I understand it from is it Miyazaki or whatever,
Miyazaki, yep.
Yeah, said to him, like, listen here, I'm not gonna explain functionality and mechanics and all that stuff to you. Write the fucking story and we'll make that shit behind that. I want a fucking good story, and then I'm not gonna tell you this guy rides a horse or this guy fights this way or anything like that. There's a very interesting fucking interview where they spoke about like how George R.R. Martin was actually included in the whole process.
George R.R. Martin does the greatest feat in writing to me. He creates a Bible.
His world building.
He creates a Bible. He creates a world, and he doesn't think about the characters. He drops them in that world and only writes how he will only write how they react to all of it. So I just think he has gone on record and said more about taking this seriously than the new HBO spinoff House of the Dragon. So I'm like all in. I just believe. With a convoluted, in my opinion, awful story, Sekiro won Game of the Year when it came out.
But the Sekiro story was not dog shit. I use that term. I use that term far too often.
No, it was the horse's poo. But
it's not comparable to what we saw in something like Dark Souls 3, for instance. Correct,
or a Bloodborne. Bloodborne story.
Bloodborne is fucking.
It's amazing, and I just really believe that they have too many things that will be top in class versus Horizon, which will be, fantastic story and fantastic graphics. You will give away some things with a gameplay loop and a grind that you won't compare to. You don't need to grind any FromSoft games. It will make you better. It will make it easier, but you will have the ability to take on any challenge based on your skill. And that in gaming is masterful.
That's a huge thing. When you say to a gamer that you don't have to grind out XP for this, you can just be good enough at this. That's a powerful message to send to someone, and somebody that is ego driven or driven to be good at something in that regard can look at that and go like, hold on, so I could do this at level 1 if I just got good enough. And that's what From Software games has always been about. So dude, I would love to sit here right now and say that I disagree with you. But I fucking hate you, bro, because you literally picked it exactly the same way I would have. I think commercially, I think Horizon Forbidden West is going to be a huge success. It's a system seller in its own way, simply because of the fact that it has a way of convincing anybody that for some reason has not adopted PS5 yet and has been maybe holding back on buying into a PlayStation in the first place to go, you know what, fuck it, if I can't get a PS5, I'm gonna get a PS4 because at least I can play the fucking game, you know, something like that. It is that. Look, it's definitely a holdback on it, the fact that it's only available on PS4 and PS5, whereas Elden Ring is obviously available on PC as well, which is where I think a lot of its audience is going to come from. That being said, I think Elden Ring will be sitting on anywhere between 35 to 45, maybe even 50 fucking 100s for the year. I'm calling it right now. And this will be a monumental thing for From Software, because they have these polarizing audiences. They have people that love them because they're so difficult, and they have people that hate them because they make them feel inferior. And so it's always like this thing, like it's the game that, in my opinion, has deserved, the franchise that has deserved the most hundreds but has gotten the least. I think this might be the one that breaks it up for them, because this opens it up to so many people. Like I said, I'm one of fucking them. I've spoken to so many people that would never give a From Software game the time of fucking day because they don't want to fucking throw their controller through a window. But Elden Ring, for some reason, gives them this idea that it's going to be different. Now, whether that ends up being true is a different thing. But hey, you've already spent the 60, bro. It's done. So whether you play it for like 2 hours and realize, Jesus Christ, this is the most difficult thing I've ever played in my life, we won't know that. Remember the network test that came out? There's been a lot of this thing about magic was made more, powerful. General progression was made easier. The boss is about half as fucking hard as it should be. All of that. Whatever. It's also the other thing is that most people, when they look at open world games, they tend to think that there's a difficulty selector. That's not the case for From Software games, baby. There's only one speed, and it's fuck you. So yeah. But that's it. So I cannot dispute with anything that you said, Rome. I think that you hit it right on the fucking nail, right off the tip there. I fully agree with your selection of commercial hit versus let's call it crowd hit, or what's the right word? How does one phrase it? It's commercial success versus universal success, something like that, like
critical success. And there's enough highfalutin critics that want to say, oh, I played a FromSoft game and I'm good. I beat it. Look good. At me.
I got
and
good.
And whether they did or not, and they wrote a fancy script detailing the game, you'll never know. But they will push it forward because it is very, very in vogue to say, well, I beat ex-boss on blah blah blah. I killed the hood, so I killed the embodiment of rage with 2 revives, or whatever. I mean, I did that last night on
level 1, baby. Let's go. So that's the thing. So I think, Rome, I think that gets us to Separate at Birth episode 1, at least from my side, unless there's anything that you want to include from yours.
This has been Separated at Birth episode 1. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you. It's been a pleasure. I hope the chat was able to enjoy the show, and as always, a reminder, you can be a part of the show. You can drop in any questions. You can drop in any comments on the topics that we pick for the day by using the tip button and putting in your comment. And if you can't support the show in that way, always remember you can support the show by liking the video, by subscribing to the channel, and by sharing the video. If you share this video with one person, all of our viewers, this will take it to the next level. This will grow this thing. We're not going anywhere. We want to be able to sit down and have a place that you can park your butts and talk about the things that you love, talk about the entertainment you like and the video games that you like. We offer a different spin on the gaming discussion, where it's a place where it's you, it's gamers like you, it's gamers like me, it's gamers like the Full Measure, where we can come together and talk about this stuff, where we're not insiders, we're like you, we're gamers, and we can share in this together. So it was a pleasure. I loved this episode, and I loved hanging out with you, and final words. Where can we find you? Where can we find the Full Measure?
First of all, thank you so much for that and everything that you said. I can only mirror that. It's an absolute honor sitting here, digitally opposite you and doing this thing. It's a big deal for me and something that I've been very interested in for a while, ever since we started speaking about it. And so it's for me, it's fortuitous to bring this to this audience at this moment in time when there's so much going on and we're about to start this rambunctious February with all this fucking crazy stuff. It's going to be very fucking interesting to touch base during February on all of these things that we've said to each other tonight and that we're going to keep on saying to each other. Obviously, as we go forward with this, guys, this is a permanent thing for us, so this is going to be every fucking Monday going forward. You can depend on this slot and we're going to be here doing this thing. Now, in terms of where you can find me, by the way, in the description of this video, the socials for both me and Roman, both of our channels on YouTube. On this channel itself, what I will be posting or what we'll be bringing in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of days in between each one of these podcasts is highlights of what we think out of this 2 hours or 1.5 or 2.5 hours or whatever like that, of things that we thought that sort of drove the conversation and little bite-sized pieces of what we think was interesting from the discussion. I have to say that it is extremely illuminating sitting opposite someone like Roman, who enjoys the same games I do, enjoys the same medium I do, but has in some cases, different take on it, different opinion about it. And it's always interesting to consume that with you guys and we can essentially share it together. But like I said, I just want to say thank you so much for the support that we've seen. We're already up to, I guess, almost like 50 subs or something like that. We had that almost before even launching the first piece of content, and that's due to every each one of you coming at us from our different platforms and showing the faith and the belief in the franchise. And I can only promise you that if you stick with us, we're gonna stick with you, and the sky's the limit, baby. And I think that's it, bro.
Always remember, if you were here and you were hanging out with us, you too were separated at birth. And when you're separated at birth, you need to come together and talk about the things, talk about your journey, and talk about all the things that we share in common. You can find me primarily at twitch.tv/Roman_wins. We stream live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The Full Measure has his live streaming schedule, so go to his channel and look for his live streaming schedule, and then jump in there. Join our streams, talk to us individually, tell us the things that you like. You can tell us the things that you don't like. We'll listen to you, we'll play some games with you, and we're going to continue to, on our own, put out the content that we see, and then take the time once a week to come together, share our vision, and share it with one another, and we hope that you enjoy that combined vision. But with that, send us home, and that's episode 1 in the books. Hope to see you all on episode 2.
That's it, done and dusted, and I'm going to end with an old fucking favorite. Fucking cheers.